and welcome back to another episode of Sai's Eyes. I'm out here in the park, so maybe some background noise, which is intended. Nearby a fountain. Hopefully it's not as loud as when I was driving the car for my first few episodes. Maybe some birds chirping, people talking, people in the background, whatnot, but beautiful day out here in the park at Freedom Park, out in Charlotte. But today, this episode, I want to continue my look at the SaiOS, my life operating system. And to do that, the last few episodes we've gone through my daily tracking and then my weekly review. So I've gone in depth, line by line, field by field to do that. And now I'm going to continue on that path, moving up another time period, going into the monthly review. So right now I'm recording this in April, so I think this will be releasing in May, but I'm recording this in April. So right now I have April 2021 as my monthly review page that's open right now. And so in this review, I have the dates. So it's kind of similar to the weekly review in that it has the range of dates. So not just for a week, obviously, but for the month. So again, my month, I categorize it out by Monday to Sunday as the week. So then my April month in here is April 5th to May 2nd, since that's 4 weeks. And if you're wondering, I'm doing a 4-4-5 month. So the 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 12th months of the year, May, June, September, December are going to be 5 weeks. And I want to use the 5th week in those 4 months to do planning for the next quarter. So essentially I'll have 12 weeks of projects and execution and stuff like that. But continuing on with the monthly review template, I have a theme. So like I was saying, the purpose by time period in that episode in the alignment zone. I have a daily priority, a weekly focus, and then a monthly theme. So for April, the theme is for arbitrage and steady state. I think I mentioned this on that episode. And so I want to get this garage sale arbitrage stuff out on eBay, whatever other sites I want to be using, and then whenever someone buys, I'll deal with that then. But I want to at least put all the stuff up for auction or up for sale so that it can be generating income. And then under theme, I have a success looks like field. So this is also a text field. And so success looks like, it's similar to the theme. Theme is kind of more succinct, but success is more of a sentence for me. So the success in April looks like garage sale arbitrage project is complete with just ongoing upkeep. So that's my definition of success. If by May 2nd, the end of my month, I'm able to accomplish that. If that project is complete with just ongoing upkeep. So those are the only things and then I have a weeks database relation. So this monthly database, this specific page, this monthly review page within the months database is related to the weeks database as well as the quarters database. So the weeks one, all the weeks that roll up into this month, the 4 weeks, similar to how the daily rolls up to the weekly, those weekly fields that I fill in, like my weekly focuses, my weekly accomplishments, my weekly disappointments, improvements, gratitude, etc. I will be able to see all those in this monthly review page because of that relation that I've created between those databases. So for the different fields that I type in the monthly review page are the monthly wins, the month losses, gratitude, improvements and 6-time book improvements, which I may change it, iterate on and update, but for right now that's what I have for the 6-time book that I keep on a daily basis of the different things like time and energy investment, the different areas of focus that I want to be improving on intentionally. And then I have, similar to a week, a couple of fields here, just like weekly effectiveness and status of the week in relation to the month. I have a monthly effectiveness and status in relation to the quarter. So similar fields, similar vein there. Monthly effectiveness is just 1 through 10, and status in relation to quarter is the same thing as on track, at risk, and completely off track. Then, of course, just like my daily habits, I have weekly habits. Just like that, I have monthly things that I want to be doing once a month. This one is not as built out. I could be building it out more. But right now I have one new meal cooked. So I want to be learning some new foods, as well as finish reading a book, which actually today I just did finish a book. So you can actually check that off right now live on this podcast. Look at that. Getting stuff done. I have not cooked a new meal in a while. I wouldn't call what I eat cooking, but it is what it is. And then most of the rest of the fields are actually roll-ups of weekly effectiveness score. What is this one? Weekly statuses. The average weekly effectiveness score. The weekly focuses, like I said, accomplishments, disappointments, improvements. So all of those I get to see. With this roll-up function, I get to see either, a total, like kind of the aggregation of the text, or if it's a number, I can do the sum or the average, depending on what makes the most sense to view from a monthly perspective. Sorry if there's a lot of wind on this mic, but that's what I got the windbreaker for this mic, so let's see. And then the different weekly practices that I want to be keeping track of. So like practicing flute, or applying face mask, or learning a new bhajan, or doing my bi-weekly circle, or the different meditations that I want to be doing on a semi-regular basis. On a regular basis, intermittently, if you will. Like once every 1-2 weeks. And so those are all the fields that I have in my monthly review. So it's not necessarily as tactical, but it gives a more of an overview of how my month has gone by looking at how I've done throughout the weeks of that month, which of course is a result of keeping track on a daily basis. And then going on down this page, scrolling down, those are all the fields. Now to the actual page piece of it, I have an action items completed this month. This one I kind of just have in there just as a placeholder in case I want to see anything, but haven't really used it much because action items, there's a lot of action items hopefully that I've completed throughout the month, and viewing each action item on a monthly basis is not very relevant. It is on a daily and weekly level, but not in this aggregated view. It is definitely important on a project basis. If I want to, in a monthly view, I do have a project, view within here, timeline, or just kind of cards, if you will. I forgot what the actual name in Notion is. And so, scrolling down past the action items completed this month, I have kind of 4 questions. A monthly assessment. I've kind of taken this from August Bradley. I've yet to fully change it, but I think these are relevant questions and questions that are valuable to be asking. First question is, or prompt is, breakthroughs/discoveries this month. So if I've had any, revelatory ideas or epiphanic moments or profound wisdoms, pragmatic wisdoms, or I've learned something from someone, or heard something awesome, or whatever it may be, any breakthroughs, discoveries. Hopefully these are being tracked on some level, but anything that I've captured when I'm doing this, on a holistic perspective, I'll capture here. Then there's activities this month. So this is usually, just kind of projects or things that may not be captured as, as projects or action items, but just different things that I've done this month that I want to be hopefully grateful for, as well as proud about having accomplished. Then the next one is, did I spend my time on the right things? So this is really asking, did I spend my time on the right things? How was my time allocation throughout the day, throughout the week? Did I manage my time properly, time and energy? Am I getting better? These are questions that are spurred on by this question and prompt. And then kind of related to that, and what I digressed towards was, how did I improve month over month? Did I do what I said I would do from the previous month? So this is not only taking into account this month, all the action items, all the projects, all the habits and practices that I've done, but also taking into account the previous month. So I'll be taking a look at, for April, when I do this review at the end of April, I'll be taking a look at the March review, the March 2021 review. And I'll be seeing what did I input as things to improve on intentionally, right? And did I actually take action to improve upon those, or is this a recurring pattern that I need to be spending more time and energy on to improve myself, to show that growth, to embody that growth, that commitment to being a better person? So those are the 4 questions that I've taken from August Bradley. Then kind of below that, this is kind of in the same vein, but obviously from an Agile perspective, I see the value in retros. So I have this actually in the weekly review as well, but I don't do it since I don't think it's necessary on a weekly basis. But I could be wrong. But for me, I haven't done it on a weekly basis yet. So I have actually about 8 to 10 kind of prompts kind of already listed out here. And so there's either 1, 2, 3, or 4 columns already separated out in Notion. And so there's what went well, what didn't go well, what can I improve, kind of retro. There's a stop, start, continue. That's probably one of the more well-known retro types. There's a mad, sad, glad one. Just a little bug on the phone. An error of commission, error of omission one, which I believe I talked through in my quarterly circle episode. There's a story of a story, which I talked about in the quarterly circle, but with the monthly review process. There's a keep, add, more, and less one. There's a rock climbing one with the ropes, boulders, weather, and is it rocks? Or first aid, something, I don't know, that help are symbols for different things, like what is the goal, what's helping us, what's hurting us, stuff like that. So they're all supposed to symbolize different questions, just pictured and visioned in a different way. And so I see the value of it doing it at the workplace, and I definitely see the value of it doing it personally. And so I go through the retro. I take about 45 minutes. So there's a helicopter going over. I'm not sure how loud that is. But I have take about 45 minutes to an hour doing this retro piece of it, because I want to be very thorough. Because it really takes time, 30 minutes to an hour, I'd say, to really dig into myself, to really go deep within and find out, to reflect, find out what really happened, to observe from the past 4 weeks. And then going on, I have alignment and affirmations. So I'll be reviewing the purpose, mission, values. So this is similar to the weekly review. Just reviewing those, refining and updating the affirmations, which I'll be having in next podcast. Maybe not the next one, but actually it might be the next one. But a future one for sure. So the high level kind of sections in the alignment pyramid. Then I'll be reviewing and refining the habits and practices. So again, similar to the weekly. And reviewing performance in the daily tracking. So these are more placeholders Well, so I shouldn't say that. The purpose mission values, this is more important on the monthly one than on the weekly one, I should say. Because since you're looking at this on a more aggregated level, on a higher perspective, bird's eye view, or like a hilltop, I should say, a mountaintop, I should be looking at it, more bigger picture of those higher up in the pyramid levels. And I should be spending more time on the daily action items, the projects in the daily and the weekly level, and the monthly for a bit. And then obviously the quarterly planning piece of it that's when projects are very important. But doing different practices so that I'm not necessarily repeating myself 100 to a T on each of these review templates, review pages in these databases, so I can spend my time and energy accordingly. And so then I go through the action piece of the pyramid, right? So aspirations, first level, affirmations, and then action is the lowest level, which entails the projects and the action items. So I'll be reviewing and updating the projects. Do I need to update the timelines? Do I need to add any tasks? Do I need to remove any tasks, etc.? And then going on to action items, I'll be updating the action items to reflect any changes above that I made to the projects. Just making sure I have all the necessary database fields filled in. And so after that, kind of wrapping up there, I'll be adding a new month for the next month and setting the theme for that month, which I'll be capturing in the purpose by time period little toggle that I have in my alignment zone page, as well as updating the line item that I have on my action zone dashboard, which is kind of where I live 90% of the time, so that the monthly theme is apparent and visible to me at all times. And so that is my monthly review. Again, that I went line by line. This is similar to the weekly review, but on a more aggregated level. But I did want to go and point out what the differences are with like the retros and the difference in perspective that I take on the monthly review versus the weekly review, where weekly is, again, a little bit more to the ground and tactical. Because essentially, hopefully you've set yourself up for success on the high level of the year and the quarter, where you don't have to necessarily change course too much for the monthly and weekly, where you're not really worried about your purpose, because it's like on a week-to-week basis, you should not be worried about your purpose. Like purpose should be set, at the year and, maybe touch it in the quarter. But like after that, you should only be reviewing it to make sure that it's top of mind and not actually changing it. That should be done maybe the quarterly, but on the yearly level mainly. So it's kind of aligned with if you look at it from the pyramid perspective, the projects and action items, that type of stuff I'll be taking a look at in the daily, weekly level. The affirmations, that next level, I'll be taking a look at, weekly, monthly, sometimes quarterly level, and then the higher aspirational level that I'm taking a look at in the quarterly and yearly. So as you move up the levels of the pyramid, as you move up the levels of the pyramid, you're moving from a smaller time period to a larger time period. So the alignment there is, double, twofold. So it's kind of aligns there pretty well. But anyways, we're reaching 20 minutes, so I did want to stop there and then move on to, this was a monthly, so I'll be talking about the quarterly, and then I might lump the yearly one in, but we'll see. But thanks for listening. Hopefully you guys are learning something. I definitely learned something when I was building this out, and so I want to, share what my process is right now. So that's one of the reasons why I want to keep sharing each of these review pages, databases, operating system, components in detail. So you can see how I'm approaching things. So, yep, thanks for listening to another episode of SaiOS. I'll see ya when I see ya.